attention, but yeah, that's all that she's...
I have an older brother who is 6 years older and is a pretty accomplished musician, and was always looking up to him. I think the first song I ever wrote was called Amanda, I Love You. I think I was like 7. Amanda was this girl in my first grade class, Amanda Lang. You know, I was in love. I was in maybe 9th grade or 10th grade, and college was approaching. I said, if I'm gonna go to school, like, I wanna go do this. So then I started taking it really seriously, and I had a bunch of bands in high school, and that was sort of the only thing for me to do.
Look what God gave me.
It's really become a sort of blend for me. I've written poems and I've put them to music. I've had a great melody with some chords, and you put words to the melody. I think Paul Simon said, you know, 99% of the time in the studio is just sitting and waiting for like that somebody plays the right chord and somebody says the right lyric and all these things just go, yeah, because their ideas are there. They're floating around. Every time you're in the studio, there's an opportunity to make something great.
I know you moved on to someone new.
I've tried to be better about surrounding myself with people who keep me inspired and people that I think I inspire, so that the pot is always at least simmering. You know, it's like an athlete or something. It's like, how do you deal with like not throwing the ball great that game? It's like you just like go to practice the next day and you just keep like work with your coach and your team, and like you'll get it back. You're in the pros, you know, for a reason.
I know it ain't pretty when two hearts get broke.
It really comes in waves for me. I'll have like these droughts where like I'll really have an urge to write alone. I sort of have to sidestep and work on something together, and then maybe like later in that day or later that week I'll try to like, I have an idea that might be too like hard to explain. Some songs need to be written by 4 people because it's a puzzle, and some ideas are just like one pinpoint small idea that the more you add to it, the more complicated it becomes.
These days, 3 years of upside.
Probably John Lennon, you know, him in particular. I thought he was always like one step trying to make something a little off or a little weird, or like, and just pick his brain about like, how did you come up with the idea of like flipping this, saying the sentence backwards, you know? I really like Slip, Sliding Away, Paul Simon, as a song, and how he sort of talks through the man and the woman and this couple. He kind of has 3 different stories hidden in the song, which is, I always thought, is like, Only Have Eyes for You, Flamingos, as a recording, is always like, someone asked me like, what's your like favorite of all time, like right now, even though I have like hundreds of them, that's sort of my go-to. I had to get out of the studio one day. I was like, I'm fed up with the studio. And I got a house in Malibu for the day, and I invited all these collaborators to come like mess around with me. And at like 3 p.m. we're like noodling on guitar, like looking at the ocean. I was like, should we just like make a bunch of songs that we want to make? And everyone was like, yeah. And from like 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. we'd made this 5-song like EP in like 14 hours. The concept is we sort of move to a new location each time and make a EP or album now. In like the 2 or 3 days we're away. We did one in Vegas. We did one at this like love rehabilitation center. It's all love songs. We let the sort of environment inspire the music. It's some of my best work, no question. And it's with all my closest friends that I love, so it's like, it's really special.
It don't come easy. In life you have to work.
John the Blind was like the king of Bohemia, 1300s, was blind. Like he'd have his men drag him out, would fight in all these battles, blindfold, you know, not blindfolded, blind, literally. It's sort of how I create, like I was talking about before, you're sort of like, don't know what's gonna happen. You just sort of gotta grab what you can and like try to make it like work. it's sort of started as having these maybe 15 or 20 like great songs or vibes or ideas that like maybe were a little too left of center for like a Maroon 5 or a this or a that. But I was really passionate about them, and my manager was really passionate about them, and it was like, how do we put these out, or they're just going to be, you know, stuck on my laptop forever. I was going to be just John Ryan, and my manager was like really adamant about sort of separating that from my songwriting credits. It had the name John, of course, so it was just like, which is a sort of met me halfway, because I just wanted it to be my name and he wanted to be something different. And yeah, it just worked out great. That's a good question. Because I don't have the answer. So yeah, I went from sort of one job to 3 full-time jobs in the last year. It's a lot of work. Scheduling is like a huge part of it. Sort of doing less sessions, or really picking and choosing what artists or what songwriters I want to work with. Blocking off certain John the Blind time in the fall. Like we have these 6 weeks of touring I might do. Like that's John the Blind time, and then maybe 2 weeks of writing, and that's like sort of blocked out. ASL and like my project and like writing for whoever. It's like, it's fine. I would A/B your songs or your records to a lot of your favorite records. That's what I sort of do a lot now, because I listen to my songs from my beats from 10 years ago, and they're just like fucking terrible. Because I was like in my headphones, I'm like, this sounds amazing, but if you like compared it to something, it sounds terrible. And surround yourself with people that don't really settle unless it's like really, really great. Lion. I'm a big Leo. All things good and bad Leo. I am a raging Leo. I don't even know if this exists, but this is what I would be. You know, little flat patty chicken parms with red sauce and cheese, and you kind of scrape a few onto your plate, and they're really thin, you know, not too bad for you. Yeah, I think so. Chicken parm sliders with no bun.